face. Well, thank you all for joining. Today's webinar is Digital Trends in Hotel Marketing. My name is Craig Carbonare. I'm the president for the HSMAI Los Angeles chapter. We're honored to have you join us this morning. Our board of directors would like to welcome you. So you're seeing his handsome face, Mitch Woolley. He's our past president and VP of marketing. Sandra Martinez, our managing director, and others here on the board. If you have any interest in supporting our board or helping with future programs, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks again for joining us. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Libby Zarahi. She'll be our moderator for today, and she's the Director of Sales and Marketing at Hotel Amarano.
Thanks, Craig. If you could just advance, let's go over a couple of updates and housekeeping before we get started with our formal presentation. Of course, we know why we're here today. It's for digital trends in hotel marketing, and I know you are going to benefit so much from the intel that Michael's going to present to us. A reminder that when we're participating, if you could kindly mute your audio. A lot of us still work out of the home, so we have kids, dogs, babies, all kinds of stuff, lawnmowers in the background. So out of respect for our co-participants, please mute. If you have questions, kindly put them in the chat box. I'm going to help monitor that to either pause Michael if it's appropriate to stop and ask that question right away. But regardless, we will have a Q&A roll-up at the very end of the presentation. So my intent is to make sure that all of your questions are answered properly. Then we'd just like to highlight that we have the HSMAI web series on several different topics. The Hotel Digital Marketing Essentials is April 4th through the 9th. So that is right around the corner. Then you have Digital Sales Essentials, and that is April 10th through May 15th. You can advance. All this information, by the way, is taken directly from the website. So if you'd like to return after today's presentation, please do so. One that I have that is of great interest is the Revenue Optimization Essentials, and that will be conducted April 18th through May 23rd. It's an excellent prep course for your certification in CRME, in Certified Revenue Management. And then a big hello and shout out to our new members, which I'm going to very quickly go through. So please let me apologize in advance if I mispronounce anyone's names, but we do welcome you. We have David Arola from Sindyne, Bianca Barga, Director of Accounts from Amadeus.
You're under 15, can you add?
I'm sorry? I think Bianca.
Someone wasn't following. Yeah, someone wasn't following the rules of muting.
From Director of Sales and Marketing at the LA Tourism Convention Board, a very strong partner of ours. We also have Carmen Glover, welcome, from the world famous Langham Hotel. She's Director of Revenue Management. Sarah Harper, who is the Corporate Director of Marketing and E-Commerce with KSL Resorts. Trevor Little with Booking.com, who's the Marketing Manager, welcome. John Millam, just got my Sojourn report this morning. Who is Director of Sales, so welcome indeed. Daisy Pinedo, Director of Sales and Marketing at the Lux Hotel Sunset Boulevard, a favorite hotel of mine, absolutely stunning. Bonnie Rubin, President of Bonnie Rubin Communications, and Roseanne Riva, Area Manager, also for Booking.com. So we have a couple of executives from Booking.com. Lindsay Roberts, welcome, from Martin Resorts, Director of Marketing. Kate Salmon, Corporate Social Media Strategist with KSL Resorts. Erica Thorne with Les Margot, Director of Sales and Marketing, welcome. And Emily White, Director of Sales of 360 Destination Group. Okay, that's it for the new members. But listen, I look forward to meeting some of those new members. You offer a lot of brain trust to bring into our chapter, and we'd like you to take advantage of us just the same as we wish to take advantage of your talent. Now, I just want to take a minute to introduce Michael and turn the program over to him. But I just need to reiterate from my conversation with Michael, This is why I'm a member of HSMAI. When you get this type of expertise that's going to share all this experience and talent, it is an hour well invested. So I'm so excited about today. Just to tell you a little bit about his association with HSMAI, after 20 years in marketing, Michael helps us, hoteliers, grow direct channel usage by using the hotel network's innovative solutions to attract, engage, and convert visitors through their booking journey. And isn't that what we're all after, is conversions? He's also highly awarded. So don't take my word for it, take other people's words for it. He's a winner of HSMAI Top 25 Minds Award. He's also a platinum winner of the Adrian Awards that just recently took place, as well as a gold. Foundation and Work Group Chair, Marketing Advisory Council. He's a chapter executive for the New York City Adrian Awards Committee and judge from the chapter. And then also invests his time in the appropriate certifications that we just mentioned. Certified Hospitality Digital Marketeer. I'm working on that right now, so I may ask for a little help. Certified Revenue Management Executive and Project Management Professional. I want to encourage all of us to stay connected with Michael through LinkedIn and continue to discover more of the intel that he has to offer. It's also a way to stay connected live during his discovery process as he continues to develop the subject of digital marketing. So as mentioned to our attendees, please place your questions and comments in the chat box. We'll have our Q&A. And Michael, thank you so sincerely for being with us today and being our featured talented.
It is my pleasure. Thank you. That was very, very generous words. I appreciate that very much, Libby. And Mitch and Craig, thank you so much for inviting me to talk to your chapter. I saw Mitch, Craig, and actually Sandra last week in Minnesota at the leadership meeting. And for all of you, you know, as Libby said, you know, I'm very involved in the New York City chapter, and it's all about what are some good reasons to be a member of HSMAI. And, you know, I'd like to see however I can share to help out. So anyway, I was just in LA for the HSMAI Foundation meeting. I just joined the foundation as well as the Adrians, and I'm actually going to be there in mid-April for a couple of conferences. So I'd love to connect with a few of you if you find this information interesting, and share a little bit more with you. One of the things that Libby said to me when I spoke with her yesterday, it's like, we really want to have a couple of actionable items. Please give us some actionable items. So I'm really hoping that you'll have some actionable items from my chat today. All right. So we kind of went through this a little bit ago, but I'll just kind of give you the quick sort of thing. So I've been doing hotel marketing for about 20 years. I was in small brands like Club Quarters and Dolce Hotels and Resorts, larger brands, Starwood and Wyndham, and even some independent boutique hotels. But the common thread is I was always marketing, it was always digital, it was always e-commerce. So that's where my passion is. That's what I love about this stuff. And that's a picture of my family, and that is us in Alaska up at Mendenhall Falls. And I strongly encourage any of you haven't been up there to go there. It was an amazing trip. So my company that I work for is called the Hotels Network. And a lot of the companies really are about, you know, driving rooms. Our company, we're all about engaging with people who are on the hotel websites and on the hotel booking engines, because we're all about growing the direct channel. And we want to engage with them. We hyper-personalize content in a way to really want them to book. So we're really focused on the people, and that is what we do. And here we have 16,000 hotels around the world. Again, big brands, little brands, but really it's all about growing the direct channel. So that's what we do. So now let's get to the agenda. The commercial part is over. All right. So this is what we're going to talk about. This is the exciting stuff. We're going to talk about from generative AI to doing more with less, personalization. And if you see me looking over here to the left, sometimes I have a couple of screens, so I'm looking over there too. So cookies, and each time I talk about something, I'm going to talk about what I see as the challenges and maybe some ways to a strategy to overcome those challenges. And what's new is how maybe you can leverage some generative AI. So with that said, generative AI, for those of you who have heard it, what the heck is it? So generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that we can use to create content, such as videos, images, and text. All of this happens automatically without human intervention. As a hotel marketer, this means you could use generative AI to create marketing materials for your hotel, such as custom images and videos, amenity descriptions, room descriptions. This can all help you save time and resources. So it isn't necessarily better than what you can do, but it definitely can be done. It can be done faster and at scale versus what you can do. So if anything kind of shows the impact of what generative AI is, I think this graph shows that. So what is this? It is the race to 1 million users. Netflix, 3.5 years to get to 1 million users. Facebook, 10 months. ChatGPT, 5 days. So if anything kind of shows you how never in the world has something ever been adopted this quickly. So you know that something like this is incredibly disruptive. So what is ChatGPT? It is essentially like a very user-friendly chatbot. It's indexed with knowledge of pretty much the entire world up to 2021. The one thing is about it, it creates content, but it doesn't fact check itself. It doesn't really know if what it's writing is correct or not. So yesterday, this is hot off the press. So you guys are getting right up to date stuff. So yesterday, ChatGPT 4 came out, which is an iteration of Chat 3, which came out in November. Basically, it's a lot smarter. It's faster. It's more accurate. And I'll give you a couple of examples as to how it is. And if you guys want to try out ChatGPT, there's the link there at the bottom. So just to tell you how smart this thing is, look at it. They had it take the LSAT, which is the law school test. It scored in the 88th percentile. It took the GRE for verbal. It scored a 99th percentile. It aced the AP art history exam. It aced the AP biology exam. It is just something that is able to look at questions and be able to process it and answer it almost as well as a human being. That's crazy. That's scary. So I'll give you some examples, and I'll pull these from the website. So this shows you how creative this thing can be. So it says there's a prompt. So how ChatGPT works, it works with prompts, which are inputs, and it creates an output. So here, they say here, explain the plot of Cinderella in a sentence where every word has to begin with the next letter in the alphabet from A to Z without repeating any of the letters. So then it goes through A, B, C, D, E, F, G, explaining the plot of Cinderella. That is just crazy. Or it shows you a picture. Here's a picture. It says, what can I make with these ingredients? What are we looking at? We're looking at some eggs. We're looking at some flour, some milk, and I'm not sure what the other thing is in the background. Well, it says, oh, there are lots of options. You can make pancakes, you can make waffles, you can make crepes, you can make omelet. It can look at images and process. This is amazing. Or it says, okay, it showed a picture of iPhone with a serial cable plugged into it with 3 different panels. It said, what is funny about this image? Describe it panel by panel. So it goes through, describes it panel by panel, and then it says why it thinks it's funny. The humor of this image comes from the absurdity of plugging a large outdated VGA connect into a small modern smartphone charging port. The fact that it can understand humor is amazing. That's just absolutely amazing. Or reasoning. You give it a bunch of people's scheduled times and said, try to find a time that everybody is available. Where's a 30-minute slot? So here, this image here shows the difference between ChatGPT 3 on the left which actually had a little bit more problem with kind of finding a good 30-minute slot, whereas ChatGPT 4 is able to quickly find the slot. And then sort of the last one is it can now process over 20, if you give an input of 25,000 words. So this example, they pointed to Wikipedia on Rihanna. It says, describe her Super Bowl performance and what made it special. And all it did is look at the Wikipedia link, and then out came the output, and it kind of gave a very interesting, optimistic answer to Rihanna's, performance, which is actually pretty cool. The fact that I was very afraid, when she was way up there floating. All right, so generative AI. So that was all stuff that was just released yesterday. So you guys are getting hot off the press. All right, so what are the challenges of generative AI? As I said to you, there has some incorrect facts because it doesn't check itself. And what they call this, the word for those are called hallucination. It says when it says things are incorrect. And the other thing, and I'll give you an example, is there's a shift in the industry, in the digital industry, going from a product shift from search to answer. And I'll explain what that is. So what's the strategy here? Stay informed, up to date, like what you guys are doing right now, and then play with the tools, see what it can do. That is a huge thing. So what do I mean from the beginning of search to an answer-based model? So on the left-hand side here, you have Google. So Google, you kind of search for a hotel, you get links to ads that are related to the hotel or maybe not related to the hotel. You have underneath that, you have organic links. Then on the right-hand side, you have the Google business listing, and then you have the meta. So if you're searching for something, if it isn't exactly what you want, you can kind of start a sort of search around. Now on the right-hand side, I just went into ChatGPT, hotels near Bryant Park. It kind of spit out 5 hotels. But what am I going to do with that? I have nothing to click. I don't have any other, what about hotels in Times Square? So then I went back and I said, okay, share the ratings and links of hotels within 1 block of New York City, 1 block of Bryant Park in New York City. So then it went kind of did the same list, and it gave me the star ratings and gave me the links. So this is what's happening here. Is before with Google, you could kind of do the bare minimum in terms of a search, and then it would get a lot of data, and then you can kind of sort through it and kind of browse until you kind of find what you want. So you can kind of be more reactive. But now with the answer model, you need to be extremely thoughtful in what you ask it, because it's going to give you exactly what you want. So you need to have links, you need to have address, you need to have the ratings, and you need to ask it to give you all this information. So it requires a lot more thinking and a lot of more effort going into the process than Google does. But as I'm sure things will start to change to kind of make this thinking process easier for all of us in terms of what's a prompt generation, but you can see here, there are no ads. There's nothing there. So how are hotels going to get out there in front of the eyeballs, particularly if they're not one of these 6 hotels or 5 or 6 hotels that are listed here? They're out of luck. So that is something to think about. Doing more with less. So last year during the HSMAI roundtables, the CMO roundtable, the digital roundtable, the revenue roundtable, one of the big focuses, they asked all the executives, what's your priority for the year? They all said, doing more with less. And then this year, during the HSMAI councils for marketing, sales, revenue, distribution, it came up again, doing more with less. So what is this? So one of the things is flat budgets. In the hotel industry, we usually have the ownership team says, keep the budget flat year over year. But we all know that media costs continue to increase. So for the same amount of money, you're getting less awareness because the costs are going up, you get less exposure. So what is the way to kind of mitigate against this? One of the ways to mitigate this, because the cost for media is going to continue to grow, is target and personalization. What do I mean? So I did a test of media going to a hotel website that had personalization on it versus website, didn't have it. So I split the traffic 50-50. And what I saw was when combined with paid traffic acquisition, when it went to the website that had the targeting, it had an increase, a 24% increase in conversion of the traffic that was coming in. So therefore, the return on ad spend, which is 6-to-1 without the personalization and targeting, and it was 8-to-1 with it. So it showed that this is a way to kind of overcome the, doing more with less in terms of budget. So to kind of give it another example here, is say you have a hotel that has a media budget of $5,000 and clicks are constant, visits are constant. If you increase the website conversion from 2.5 to 3.1, just by doing that, the bookings will increase, the cost per acquisition goes down, and the ultimate revenue that's generated from that campaign goes up. So these are different ways to look at how you can do more with less money for media spend if you couple it with a technology on your website. So now doing more with less in terms of team. So we saw a lot during COVID. I know during COVID, when I was on the hotel side, my marketing team got cut from 10 to just me. Our entire company, we had to let go 80% of the people. So I know that hotel teams are ramping back, but the thing is teams are still under-resourced and you have a lot of junior people on the team. So how are you going to be able to do more with less people, with less experience? Well, a couple of things. You can, now that because of COVID, we all have this experience here that we're here on Zoom, managers also become comfortable with working people that they can't necessarily see. So this is an advantage to gig workers, people that want to, you can bring people on board for just a specific project based on their particular skill set, like sites like Upwork. You can add them to whatever project you're working. The other thing is you could leverage some technology. So for example, let's say you want to look at how your hotel's direct channel is doing again, compared against the brand, against maybe your local comp set, and as well as lookalike hotels around the world. Well, there's a technology out there freely available that you can plug in and you can see exactly where your hotel is doing. So you don't need a data analyst to kind of go through this, figure it out. The technology does it all for you, as well as strategies to mitigate it. So in terms of where you are doing well. So your booking engine, where you're doing in the overall funnel. So technology is another way which it can help you do more with less. And then the whole ChatGPT thing, which we were talking about earlier. So, access to subject matter experts, access to copywriters, they're expensive. And also it takes a while for them to turn it around. Well, you can leverage ChatGPT to provide you guidance and help you start your copy. Because I think one of the challenges when it comes to writing, I know what I write is just the inertia of getting started to kind of overcome. So here's how it's right now the way to write a prompt if you're in ChatGPT. There's a couple of different steps. First of all, you have to set up your relationship of how you want it to be. You say, I want you, then you say, to act as a luxury hotel marketer, or you want act as a great advertiser, whatever the relationship is that you want this thing to have in terms of expertise. And then you say, what are you going to give it? I'm going to give you a product will be the hotel, and the target customer. And then you'll say you will choose, and then you come up with what you want them to do. So for this example, I say, give me 3 product slogans, give me channels for promotion, 3 email subject lines, 3 calls to action, 3 ideas for short form videos, key messaging that I should use, and brand guidelines. And I say, you will write this content all to convey luxury and holistic wellness. And then in this particular product, I described the hotel, some of the location, some of the amenities, points of interest nearby, and then the target customer. And it automatically will create whatever I ask it to do. And it's free. It's free to do this. Here's another thing that's free to do, and this is sort of similar to the Rihanna article. Like say you have you have white papers you need to read. Say you don't want to read them. You can just put the link in and just say, summarize this white paper for me. Tell me what are the key points. Are the business cases? Tell me what the key points are. Or even more, that's exciting. But even another thing that's interesting is blog content. Say you have blog content on your site that you wrote like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You want to refresh it because you refresh it to keep it evergreen. Well, I said, how do you go about doing that? Well, I put it into the handy dandy chat GPT, and this is what I wrote. I said, I want you to act as an objective travel writer. Rewrite this article to emphasize personalization will dramatically increase conversion of visitors on the direct channel. It should be 500 words, include 5 bullet points. Give me a headline, give me a sub-headline. And here's the link to the article I want you to rewrite. And there it does. It just creates it right away. What takes me more time to come up with the prompt to what I wanted to do than it does for it to actually create the content, and it recreates the content terrifically. Or let's say again, you don't have an analyst, or your analyst is busy and you're struggling for time and you want to analyze some data. So you take some benchmark data and you get it as a text file, and you can create a prompt, you paste the text file in, and you ask it to analyze this data. And here it says, act as a data analyst. I will provide you booking data for the past 3 months compared to the previous 3 months of regions around the United States. Analyze the data, identify the regions and time periods that are doing better than the others. Are there any insights or trends that you see? And then on the right-hand side, you see it creates a little table for me. It summarizes it, identifies the different periods, and says where things are going well, in other areas where it could be doing better. That is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. Or here's another one. You know, you got to write that email, and it's not such a great email. Say you're like a vendor is not acting as they should. So how do you go about wording this exactly right? So for this example here, I said, act as a CEO of a company, responding to a digital marketing agency's not meeting the agreed upon KPIs in terms of traffic to the website. Write a short but clear email indicating if they do not significantly improve their performance and hit their targets next month, their contract will be under review. And then it gave me a subject line, it gave me paragraphs, and it was nicely worded, written well. And it was sort of, took out the emotion out of a particular issue that has probably highly charged with emotion when somebody is not delivering against what was expected. All right, so that's some of the generative stuff. Now let's get into benchmarketing. So it is a combination of benchmarking and marketing put together, hence the word benchmarketing. So here, in terms of benchmarketing, it is looking at your hotel, how it's doing against the brand, how it's doing against the local area, how it's doing against lookalike hotels. And then you have something to think about. You can see where you're doing well, and you see areas for opportunity. And you also have a finite amount of resources to invest. So now you have a decision to make. Do you want to focus on areas where you're doing well and go deeper and stronger that way? Or do you want to shore up areas where you're not as strong and see what you can do there? So for this example here, you can even focus it down by device. So in this example here, this particular hotel on the mobile, for mobile, is converting at 0.1%, but the proximity, the local area, is doing 0.5%. Lookalike hotels are 1%. So there seems to be a significant opportunity to invest and fix this sort of situation that this hotel is having on mobile, and that will help them drive more revenue. So removing visible friction. So what I mean by friction, friction is anything that kind of impacts people to do a smooth sort of interaction with your website. So the booking funnel, by definition, the booking funnel is friction. Starts at the top and then it gets narrower towards the bottom where the booking happens, hence the term booking funnel. So by removing the friction, what you can do is increase the spout, the bottom of the funnel, and make it wider. So in the booking engine, visitors to the booking engine is about 52% that we're seeing across the United States. And then booking engine to booking, about 13%. These are all kind of conversion numbers. So then the thing is here is, after you benchmark it, you want to kind of ultra focus on one component. For example, for this particular hotel, the visitor to the booking engine, it's converting at 28%, and that's the pink, but the booking engine to booking is about 10%. Now, the thought here is, where do you invest your time? Where should you, where is the friction that you can kind of help drive more bookings? So I would think here, the booking engine to booking, it's doing better than the proximity, better than the THN network. So I would actually focus on the visitor to BE to kind of increase that conversion, because there it is underperforming against the various compare points. And then invisible payments. So you can see that desktop converts better than mobile. And there are a number of reasons for this, but I think probably one of the biggest reasons why mobile doesn't convert as well as desktop is because with mobile, you got to pull out your credit card and then you got to punch those numbers on your phone, and it's tedious and it sucks to do that. People also get a little concerned, like, how private is it? People are sometimes a little bit more comfortable to type it into their via the keyboard. And I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons why people, why mobile doesn't convert as well, because it's just inconvenient. So the way to make it more convenient is through mobile payments such as Google Pay, Apple Pay, and also buy now, pay later programs. Now, buy now, pay later is becoming more prominent throughout the United States, and mobile wallets also, some of the big brands have it, but some of the booking engines don't have it yet. And so this is an area for opportunity. And once the larger booking engines in the United States actually include this mobile payment capability, then you might start to see a shift of mobile versus desktop in terms of this sort of thing. And then another part of invisible friction is websites, page load. So it used to be, the rule of thumb used to be, you want your site to be faster. You want your site to be fast. You want it to be faster than, you want pages in the site to load in 2.5 seconds or more, because people don't have patience for that. They're just going to drop off. But now Google said, you know what? We're actually going to index for this. And it isn't going to be a benefit for people that have fast sites. It's actually going to be, it's going to be negative. If your site loads more than 2.5 seconds, it's actually going to be very negative, and actually it's going to hurt you in terms of ranking. But it isn't by site. And that's how it used to be. It's actually by page. Each page has to go faster than 2.5 seconds. But it isn't just by page, it's by device. Your mobile has to be fast. Your laptop and your desktop has to be fast. I'm not sure if they really do it with them. And one of the ways you can measure how well your site is doing, how well your pages are doing, through Google Core Vitals. They provide this, so you can kind of really look at how your site is doing and measuring, because again, the cost of doing business now, fast sites. It is not just a competitive advantage, it's a competitive disadvantage if you have slow sites. Personalization. So personalization, and this is one of the things that my company does extremely well. So targeting. And if you think about targeting, there are lots of ways to target people on your website. You can target them based on the day that they're searching, like today is a Wednesday. You can target people by the month, it's March. So you can, I'm in the Eastern time zone. You guys are in the Western time zone, the Pacific time zone. You can target by time zone. Or you can target by the days they're searching. Say we're searching in July, you can search days that people are searching in the booking engine. You can target them based on how many days they're looking to stay, and even how the value of their booking, the booking card. You could also target people by how many people in their party. Is it one person? Is it two people? Is it family? And you can also target so many different ways to target location. Geographic location, United States, New York, California, anywhere in the world. And the source, what is the site, the source of people are coming to your site? Are they coming from Instagram? Are they coming from TikTok? Are they coming from TripAdvisor? Are they coming from a Google business listing? Target people then and make messaging according to that. And also visitor behavior, how many times they visited you. And then you can also do some custom targeting. Or you can kind of combine them. So for example, let's take, we're searching July 4th to go to a hotel and in Los Angeles, and I picked 2 people. Well, then I picked 2 people for July 4th. I'm instantly going to be seeing a romance package because you can kind of assume 2 people is a couple. Can they have romance package? It can have a picnic basket with wine and champagne in my room, and it'd be a wonderful experience. Or you could take that same search, but now you add a child. So you have 2 people and a child. Now you can assume this July 4th search is for a family. So you now have a July 4th family package. You've got a picnic. You've got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You've got glow sticks. You got a blanket. You got Frisbees. It's something wonderful for the entire family. And all we did was change is going from 2 people to 2 people and a child. So that is the power of targeting right there. And here somebody's come back to the site and it's their 3rd time visiting. Well, you can now create some urgency messaging because we all know urgency messaging works. 3rd time's the charm. Give them a little countdown timer. Give them a little bit extra boost of an incentive for them to book. Now, personas. So now if you have this dynamic targeting, which we talked about, now when people visit a specific page, you can now target a number of different people differently. So now you can have lots of different content that shows up to them in layered messaging. So now you can create a series of personas to market against. Now, typically a hotel will have maybe 2 or 3 they're looking at. Now you can have almost like an infinite number of personas that you want to target. So we all know that when it comes to marketing, you want to deliver the right message at the right time, at the right device. Now you can do this all with this targeting person. But we all know all these personas, it takes a lot of time to create all this content. Well, now with this ChatGPT, I said, came up with the one prompt, but all then at the bottom here, I said, you know what? Create these messages for these 4 different target audiences for me. Target audience, millennial women, 33 to 40. Target audience, millennial men, 33 to 40. Target audience, Gen X women, 45 to 55. Target audience, Gen X men, 45 to 55. And then I have these different messages that I can now use in target. So now I'm going to step out of the presentation for a second, and I'm going to show you something that I created yesterday, which I think is super cool. So hold on a second. Let me just share another screen with you. So I created this yesterday. Can you guys see my little spreadsheet? So here I created essentially an auto prompt generator. So I was talking to Libby yesterday. She is at the Hotel Amarano. Hope I spelled that correctly. So what I did was to create a prompt, the better they are, is the more detailed they are. So here it is. I want it'll act as a luxury marketer for Hotel Amarano in Burbank, California. Identify 3 amenities: the heated outdoor saltwater pool, complimentary bike rentals, outdoor hot tub, local points of interest, what the experience will be, vintage and modern. What are the words to describe? Inspiration, playfulness, privacy. Then here I set up, okay, create tweets for me. And then here's sort of like, I want to give you the example of the various personas. Families with teenagers, again, everything is the same. The only thing I'm changing here is the target audience. Families with teenagers, girls' weekends in their 20s, newlywed couples in their 20s, married women in their 20s, single men in their 20s. And it creates this prompt for me. And I could now take this prompt, I could copy and paste it and put it into ChatGPT, or you could use this handy dandy Google sheet that I just created. And this is all instantly created. This is all from ChatGPT for each of these scenarios, it created these tweets that I can now take and paste based on this content that was created. So then I came down here and I said, okay, create 3, use a very persuasive argument for all of you, why all of you should visit and tour the hotel for a site tour. Hotel, and we want, for the audience, hotel marketers and revenue managers attending the LA HSMAI webinar, which is you, all of you. So it created the prompt, and here's the reason why each of you should go stop by the Hotel Amaran. 1, experience the perfect blend of vintage and modern luxury. Enjoy unmatched privacy and playfulness. Explore the best of urban. So I can provide, if you guys contact me after this, I can kind of share the sheet with you. All right, back to the presentation. All right, so, but we also know, apart from the number of personas, we have not just leisure customers that come to your sites, we also have meeting planners, wedding planners that come to your hotel site. I know when I was at Dolce Hotels, we were a big B2B website, and I know that meeting planners did not like to see the messaging for luxury, for leisure customers, and leisure customers were always confused by meeting planner messaging. But now what you can do is you can target someone who comes and visits a page, a meeting planner page, like a group site page. You can assume that they're a meeting planner. And once you can, the site can assume that this person is a meeting planner, any page they hit on now on the website, any page, you can hit them with, and not show them leisure messaging, but hit them with meeting planner appropriate messaging that says, fill out this RFP, contact so-and-so for sales. Here's the person's telephone number. Here, download this fact sheet, hotel fact sheet. Oh, here's our capacity chart. Here's our floor plan. You can kind of deliver that messaging any page now throughout the site, and the leisure customer wouldn't see that. This is very powerful. The other thing is you can also, when you send out a e-blast, that's for the meeting planners, for wedding planners, if you have a links in there, you can have them be dynamically targeted links. So when they click it and they come to your site, they automatically see messaging that's related to either weddings, events, or groups, whatever. Very powerful stuff. Now, predictive personalization. So before I kind of talk about for the hotel space, I'm going to talk about it for what it is in general. And all of you have experience with it because all of you have watched Netflix. Netflix knows what you like. How does Netflix know what you like? Well, they use movies that you or TV shows that you've watched past, whether you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and it can give you a recommendation. It predicts what it thinks you might like. And that doesn't just work on video. This actually can work on a hotel website. Because right now, all hotel websites treat pretty much all travelers the same. But if a hotel wants to maximize the revenue, well, what you want to do is really understand intent. And what do we mean by intent? Well, you've got high intent, people that hit your website, they have a high intent to book or a low intent to book. The highest intent people, those generate about 50% of your bookings. People with the lowest intent, they generate 4% of the bookings. So what if, and this we can do this, what if you target the lowest intent people and you actually show to these people a deeper discounted message than anyone else would see? That's actually, we've seen that improves their conversion substantially. Now, for the highest intent people that are going to book, these are people that are going to book. You do not want to show them your discounted offers. You don't want them to see anything discounted. What do you want to show them? You want to sell up to them. You want them to drive, you want them to spend more. You want to increase them. You want to upsell them. You want to find ways to message this group and say, you know what, add another night or move to this room type, extra, higher grade room type. So by splitting that up, you can drive significantly more revenue and engagement. All right, content and data. So headless content. I know during COVID, when every day cancellation policies were changing, I was having to change content on my CMS, on my app, on Expedia, Booking, on CRM. And you know what? All this redundant entry was very tedious. Could make mistakes. So headless content kind of works sort of like how rates are distributed from hotel PMSs. It's pretty much you create content once and then you kind of distribute it out. So that's the content, the concept behind headless content. And then CDP, Customer Data Platform. So hotels have data that lives in a lot of different locations. What a CDP does is it integrates them and centralizes them all into a single location and really expands upon it and makes it very robust. And the reason for this has to do with privacy, has to do with GDPR, because of GDPR, which is a law that was passed in Europe that basically says you have to have proof of people opting in to use their email. You need to show exactly all the information that you have on a person. And if a person wants their record wiped out, you need to wipe out their record. So what the CDP does is it centralizes that. It also changes the way of thinking. I remember when I was in the hotels, I would think, this is my database. These are my emails. But the change of thinking is, I don't own this content. I don't own these emails. Actually, they're being lent to me and they can ask for this back anytime they want. So I have to be very careful with how I use this information. Zero clicks. So what are zero clicks? So this was something that Rand Fishkind said, what Spark Turo said that I know when I was at a hotel site, the owner group asking me, why does our traffic keep going down year over year? Why does our organic traffic keep going down? We're doing all of this interesting stuff. We're creating content, we're doing this. What is wrong? And so this guy actually figured out what is wrong, why this organic traffic seems to be dropping, and it has to do with zero clicks. What is zero clicks? Zero clicks means people do a Google search, and on their first page that comes up, the search engine result page, they find their answer and they go no further. They don't click anything. Hence, that's why it's called zero click. Google gets very good at answering questions. They don't go any further. So therefore, that's zero click. And in some cases, maybe this is good. I mean, finding your hotel parking information, your telephone, your address. Maybe those used to have to go to your site to find that, but maybe that's deemed unqualified traffic. So in theory, maybe hotel bounces are dropping because of this. But this is because Google is getting so good at answering the question. So what can a hotel do in this dynamic? Well, first of all, you can create content that may not be able to be summarized all up in like a sentence or two. So you kind of create more richer content. And the other thing is convert the traffic that gets to your website. You're going to be getting less and less and less and less traffic to your website. So do whatever you can to convert the traffic that shows up. And zero clicks is going to be magnified, I think, by, as I talked about earlier with ChatGPT. You know, people act as a travel planner. Give me a bunch of hotels, and here it is. It's entering here. There are no links here. I don't know where these people are going to book. I assume that they'll kind of book direct. Maybe they'll book it in Expedia, but there are no links here. So again, it's hotels collect as much first-party data as possible so you can reach people, because who knows what's going to happen in the future, and convert the traffic that comes into your website. Cookies. All right, everyone's favorite topic, cookies. All right, so I went to the HSNI Los Angeles site and looked at the cookies. And right now on your site, you've got, if you have a cookie that has your domain on it, that's sort of your first party cookie. And if it doesn't have your domain here, like YouTube, that means it's sort of a third party cookie. So here, this is pretty good. I don't feel like my privacy is really being infringed upon by your site. But CNN, look at that. So this is their first party cookie. Then these are all the other domains that are tracking me on their site. So you can see CNN is tracking me not just with their content, but I'm going to be retargeted with a lot of different types of companies. All right, so what does this mean? First party, third party, which I use. First party is essentially created and stored on the website and used by them. So for example, for CNN, It knows I'm in English, it keeps it in English. Or if I'm on a hotel website, it keeps me in English and kind of keeps my booking engine, my booking cart moving along. So first-party cookies are good. Third-party cookies are not great. Those are ones that are used across multiple websites. You know, the famous story is you're looking at a pair of shoes, you don't buy them, and all of a sudden these pair of shoes are following you all around the internet. Well, you're being retargeted by that. So that is it. So what is the state of browser compliance? Well, Safari and Firefox block third-party cookies. Chrome doesn't, says they will, but they don't, because you know what? They have the biggest thing to lose. They make money off this retargeting. So they're going to keep dragging their heels until they find another way that can replace this revenue source. So then last thing is, so the ad challenges, what you should do here is, you know, ad targeting as this comes along, as third-party cookies go away, you're going to have, I know that third-party retargeting is very powerful for me at my hotels. So you're going to lose that. So you need to continue to grow out your first-party data. And then there's going to be something like contextual advertising or something like that might take its place. What is contextual advertising? So you're reading an article about, say, tennis. The ads will be about tennis shoes. The ads will be about tennis rackets, maybe tennis resorts nearby. So it'll be related to what you're reading. So you are being targeted contextually. In Web3. So what is Web3? Well, to understand what Web3 is, well, what is Web 1 and what's Web 2? So Web 1 was the first iteration of the internet. It's from the 1990s to the 2000s, and essentially was replacing what was offline online. So basically, back in those days, we used to have something called like the Yellow Pages. It's essentially taking the Yellow Pages that people would have these big yellow books, putting them online, and you didn't really interact with them, but they were there online. So Web 2 happened, actually, there's a date for it, it's 2004. And that's when the web became read-write. It's also known as the social media era. So this is the time when people can start to upload and download and like and comment and post. And one of the things that marks Web 2 is it became very consolidated power within a few companies. So now we're on the cusp of Web 3, and Web 3 is one of the things that's known for is sort of blockchain. All right, so what is blockchain? You know, this is a lot of people are talking about blockchain before generative AI came along, but blockchain's still there, and I think I think it's important to know about it. So think of blockchain as a universal ledger. Each ledger entry is called a block. It's a chain because each ledger block refers to the previous block entry. Then these chains of blocks are exactly replicated across thousands of computers around the world. This is to make sure everything stays, everything is consistent, nothing changes. You can't erase it, it's anonymized, and it's accessible to everybody in the world. But you need a special key to access the data that's relevant to you. It's highly secure, it's highly decentralized, highly scalable. And one of the things that's going to be coming along are smart contracts. What are smart contracts? These are sort of contracts that have terms that when satisfied, they are automatically executed. There's no need for an intermediary or a central authority to validate it. So it's just an agreement between two people. Once a certain thing is met, the contract happens. And then NFTs, a lot of you have heard about NFTs. NFTs are essentially a smart contract where you can assign the ownership and manage transferability. All this stuff is managed through cryptocurrency. So Web3 also is the Webverse. You know what? Metaverse is a virtual world. You kind of are already in it right now. By doing the Zoom, the thing is you're not fully immersed into it. So if you look away from the screen, you're out of it. So Zoom is a virtual world, and to kind of get into the more immersive aspects of it, you're going to need special devices to do that. So, you know, the strategy for this is to, you know, the creating engaging experiences and keep trying sort of what's new. And then what's coming in the future in terms of the metaverse, Well, they're going to be virtual meetings will continue because that's a challenge for all of us. And there's also a challenge between remote and in-person meetings. But one of the things that the metaverse will become, so Starbucks, when it started to become more prevalent, said it wanted to become the third place. And what does third place mean? So third place doesn't mean like place in line in terms of finishing. It said the first place where people spend their time. First place people spend their time is second place. Second place where people spend their time is the office. Third place, they wanted it to be at the coffee shop. I think the metaverse will be the fourth place where people spend their time. I believe that's going to be a thing. And then what are things you can do from the hotel perspective? You want to create a hybrid sort of physical experience where people can kind of do this and find a way to interact with your hotel, whether they're there or not. And so that's what I have to say about the metaverse. In summary, I talked about generative AI. I talked about doing more with less, benchmarking. We talked about all this exciting, fun stuff. And then, of course, there's me, and that's my page, and that's my spiel. And I finished it within the hour. In the hour. So, Libby, you got anything for me?
Of course, I was talking and I was on mute. A couple questions for you, but before posing those questions, to let the attendants know today that the presentation will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later in the week. This was a lot of information for us to absorb. So if you think about how we've spent the last hour together, I'm just using myself as an example. How much of that am I going to retain by Friday or Saturday? You know, I'm going to lose some of it. So to have this to go back and refer to, but equally important, I can't wait to share this with my GM. This is really powerful intel. But we do have a couple questions. Bianca, thank you very much. Wanted to know if these metrics are within HN's dashboard or GA.
The metrics that I shared is actually through, my company has a complementary benchmarking tool called Bench Direct. So that is Bench Direct data across the 16,000 hotels around.
Okay, and then Taylor also had a good comment or question, and I'm going to just read it verbatim. It says, low intent, high intent. How do you hide all the other active offers on your booking engine? We were not able to single out one specific offer when we tried to integrate this.
Right, so it has to be using sort of the personalization tool. So obviously, if you have a special offers page, that's not something that's going to be hidden. But if they just come to the home page or some secondary page, you can kind of hit those messaging with them and make it more prominent. But again, it has to do with how you're layering the messages, and you have to kind of use the system in connection with it. So yeah, anyone who gets to the special offers page, those offers will not be hit.
Okay, and then I just have, it's a very overarching question, and I think it was presented on the deck that had personas when we're talking about different generations. And just the question is, yes, I realize content's very important, but visuals still are king. Our photography on our website, refreshing the website, that is still viable, correct?
Yeah, of course. And you can combine images with the text. So there's, I mean, I just created the text, but each of these things can be associated with images as well.
Okay. I think those are the primary questions that were posed, and I want to thank you so much. I'll be going back over this. It's just absolutely amazing that someone would share all this with our local chapter. We're so grateful to you. Mitch, can I'm sorry, Libby? Michael?
Libby?
Yeah, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Michael, may I ask that you please put your email on the chat? There were a couple of questions that they wanted to download that template. And if you could put that in, and thank you so much. I'm sorry.
All right.
Libby, take it away.
That's okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to know if Mitch or Craig wanted to make any closing comments before we all said goodbye and went back to Wednesday.
I actually
you
just
so much,
wanted to,
Michael.
I had asked a question, but it was at the 11th hour. Michael, would you recommend like kind of not having a special offers page and use the hotel network's personalization instead?
You know what? My answer to that is always be testing. You know what? You can try that and do that. I mean, if you look at, the traffic to the web page, special offers, those people are, who knows the intent of those people. So if you can hide the special offers and just target to them, you probably can drive more revenue. But then again, the people are trained to look for special offers page. So if they go to your hotel and they don't see a special offers page, they might feel they're not getting the best deal possible. And they might end up picking up the phone and calling the hotel and asking, or where's my AAA rate, or what have you, who knows?
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you again, Michael, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with our chapter. We're excited to see you all at our next event, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the week.